Perfectionism is a bullshit excuse. You're afraid. Don't try and justify why you haven't started yet by saying things like, well, the kind of guy that I am, yeah, you're a fucking procrastinator. That's the kind of guy that you are. Because it's been 8 months. It's been a year and a half. You're still yapping away. And you haven't started. And the reason why you haven't started could either be you're afraid of failure. You don't want to look bad to your friends or your family. Or you're coming up with bullshit reasons because you feel like you're not ready. You'll never fucking be ready, man. You won't. I used to use the perfectionism excuse, and that's what it is. It's a fucking excuse. Perfectionism is another word for procrastinator. Or another word for procrastination, shall I say. It is. It just sounds cool. And you feel like, well, people can't really say shit to that anyways. Look, people judge you based on what you do. And if you still haven't done shit a year later, a year and a half later, 2 years later, then what it communicates to people is that you don't really give a fuck about it. Now, you shouldn't do anything just for the sake of pleasing people. You should do it because you want to do it. But people will judge. It's just the world that we live in today. People will look at you and think, well, this guy's not fucking serious. Your spouse that you live with, she's going to look at you and think, well, my man is just not an action taker. He's just not that kind of guy. And how does that make you feel? You want your woman to look up to you. You want her to be proud of you, to almost show you off and be like, yeah, my man is incredible. He's a superhero. He makes shit happen. But you're sat there, well, I'm not ready. I don't have everything lined up. And man, I used to love that excuse. And it held me back. It held me back from progress. I started a YouTube channel like 8 years ago. Imagine that. And I uploaded one video and I said, nah, you know what? I'm not ready. I need a better camera. I need better this, better that. And I didn't upload for years after that. Right? Because I felt like I wasn't ready. But then you look at some of the YouTubers that's really struck it big on YouTube. And a lot of these guys started with shit cameras. Some of them shit webcams from their laptops. You know, some of the really original iPhones that didn't really have a great camera. And yet they still made it happen. Someone else out there is making more happen from a situation that's less favorable than yours. I'm going to say that one more time. Somebody out there is making more happen with less favorable circumstances than yours. Tony Robbins once said, it's not about your resources, it's about your resourcefulness. If you really want to make it happen, you'll find a way to make it happen. If you don't have the fanciest camera, you'll say, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to start YouTube anyways with the camera that I do have. And then when things start kicking off, I'll upgrade. But I don't want to wait up until that point. I want to produce, I want to create, I want to be on the battlefield, making shit happen. You set yourself apart from the 97% who sit there and make excuses and like the sound of their own excuses. When you get going, just moving, just taking the first step already puts you ahead of 97% of men who sit there and talk about how things are not favorable, the economy, this, that, Brexit, you know, the interest rates, the housing market. You know, people always try and find something to blame. Now, I get it. Times are tougher, for sure. Right? Inflation is really high and a lot of people are struggling. However, I do believe that you create your own economy. Don't rely on these politicians to come and, you know, wave a magic wand and turn everything around, because they're all the same. They're all puppets. They talk a load of smack, but once they get into positions of power, they don't do shit. And so relying on them to make some drastic changes is naive, right? Because they don't. Occasionally, 1 in 50 years, there might be a leader who really makes a lot of good policies that impact loads of people, but most of these politicians don't give a shit, right? So don't wait for circumstances to change. You change your circumstances. Jim Rohn used to say, everything will change for you once you change. When you get better, everything around you gets better. You got to just get going. Look, the first step can often feel like you're scaling Mount Everest. It feels so daunting. My first video, my first podcast, my first whatever. It's scary. But once you actually record the first video and upload it, that weight is now off your shoulders. Now just focus on the second video. And then once you uploaded the second video, focus on the third video, and then the fourth, and then the fifth. And then before you know it, your 97th video is uploaded. And now you're in the swing of things. You've gained momentum. I was saying this to a guy that I was on a coaching call with earlier. Once you've got momentum, it's hard to stop you. You know, a train traveling at 1 mile an hour can't really do much damage. But a train traveling at 100 miles an hour, if you put something on the track, it will obliterate it. That's what momentum does for you. Once you've got momentum, things just happen. And then you start doing well, results start coming in, money starts coming in, then you're able to upgrade your camera, upgrade your mic. But those things you have to earn. You earn those upgrades by taking a lot of action to justify why you need it. Because if you've never uploaded before, for example, why do you need the latest and the greatest? You have no audience. So start building your audience first, build a community, and then over time you can improve those things. Now, hey, if you've got money, then fair enough. But a lot of guys will use the fact that they don't have a 4K, Ultra HD camera, this, whatever, as an excuse to not create. And I always like to remind you, fellas, I say this in almost every video, reasons or results. Either another fucking reason, or you actually go out there and you perform, your video does well, and then you record another one, and then reasons or results. Your action reflects your intent, reflects how serious you are. If you do not take action, I don't care what you keep saying. Your words won't mean shit. And I said this in a video recently about why a woman doesn't trust your masculine leadership. After a while, your words are empty, and that's dangerous. It's dangerous to get to a position in life where, as a man, your words mean shit. People will not respect you. You can't keep yapping. People need to look at you and be like, yo, that motherfucker right there, whatever he touches turns to gold. When he starts something, he goes all the way. He doesn't start, stop. Sometimes your parents are right. Callum, isn't this the fourth thing that you started this year? Sometimes they're right. Sometimes you need to listen to the feedback that your parents give you. Especially if you keep starting and stopping. Start something and stick to it. Results will come, but you can't give up after a week of uploading videos or a month. It's naive to plant the seed for an oak tree today and come back tomorrow and think, hang on a second, where's the damn tree? I mean, they'll come and take you away, as Jim Rohn used to say, right? Things just take time. And I know in an ideal world, if you would flick your finger and everything would come straight away, that would be fantastic. But we don't live in an ideal world. Things take time. And instead of complaining about it, fall in love with the process. You know, your work should bring you a sense of fulfillment. It's not going to be enjoyable all the time. But knowing that you're improving, that should bring a sense of sweetness to you. Knowing that you're getting better. At least for me, it works this way. I like knowing that I'm better today than I was 90 days ago, 6 months ago. Just for fun, sometimes I'll click on my YouTube videos and scroll back a year and just watch some of the older videos. I mean, oh, wow, okay. I like knowing that I'm improving. And that's how you should approach the work itself, the process. Don't whinge about, where's the Lambo at? The Lambo will come when you don't focus on the Lambo. When you focus on providing as much value to the marketplace as possible, and you stop worrying about when, things will happen. And they can happen a lot sooner than you expect, by the way. We always assume the worst case scenario. We always think, oh, it's going to take me forever. It could happen in a year. It could happen in 2 years. But it could also happen in 6 months. I mean, anything is possible, right? But just don't panic about when everything will come together. Make sure that you're taking productive action on a consistent basis. Completely forget about the when. Have a rough idea, but don't panic over, oh, I said this time, by this time next year I would have had. Don't worry about when. Just focus on the work. The thing that you should be worrying about is making sure that your work is the best possible quality. That's the only thing you should worry about. From there, leave the rest to God. Do your part, let God do the rest. Don't stress. Stress takes away your creativity. It takes you out the game. I'm not going to be stressed because I know it's a done deal. If you're that confident and you believe, you know what, I am destined to become successful, which you should be, you don't necessarily need to know how it will all come together, but you need to fucking believe it will come together. Successful people have this almost delusional belief in themselves. And you need that if you want to be uncommon, if you want to be part of the 1%. You need to believe you are the shit, you are the real deal, you are the Don. None of this, I hope it will happen, or if I become successful. No, speak as if it's completed, because it is. It's a done deal, signed, sealed, delivered. Here we go from Fabrizio Romano. Done. Everything's finished. Khalas. No more hesitation. No more, well, I don't know yet. That's why you're not going to make it, because you're 40%, 50% when it comes to belief in yourself. You're not full. 120. 120. Take it even beyond 100. You need to be naively self-confident. Delusionally self-confident to most people, right? Now, that guy there, I think he's a bit... That's what you need. You know, Conor McGregor, I think, referenced, I don't know who it was once, but he said, I've lost my mind in the process. You know, and you have to be. To be world class at what you do, you got to lose your mind. Oh, Vincent van Gogh, he was quoting, yeah. And in the process, I've lost my mind. Right, you got to lose your mind in the process, man. By being so immersed in your work, in aiming to become the best at what you do. To most people, you're going to look crazy. But that's what gets results. You know, obsession often has a negative connotation attached to it. Oh, this guy's obsessed with what he does. He's fucking crazy. As long as you don't compromise on other areas, I can be obsessed with my craft and still spend time with my family, be a great son, a great brother. I can still do all those things. It doesn't have to be this or that. You know, Jim Rohn said, when you work, work, and when you play, play. But don't mix the two. You can certainly detach them. But I won't apologize for being 100% confident in myself, for having the utmost conviction in my ability. I will not apologize for that, and I will not back down, because that's what you need. All right? Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a like, comment, let me know what you think down below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. See you in the next one.